WSOP1.com. Slam and jam your groove right here with the best destination over the net. More talk, music, and fun.
You already know what it is.
Bringing people and the finest in entertainment together.
Only on TLVS1.com, the Vegas station.
It's TLVS1.com, the Vegas Banter Show. Marc Hernandez along with Mr. Joe Pane from the House of Pane. How was that for a classic song there, Joe?
You know, I was just going to say, normally you play upbeat music, Elvis, music you can tap you.
Our producer, Paul, he complained that for the first 3 or 4 weeks of the show that I was playing the same songs every time. So I said, let's go different. And I don't think it can get much different than that.
But I also understand you're related to this
Correct.
person.
Mr. Freddie Fender was my dad's 5th cousin, so I guess I would make him my 6th cousin. He's passed away, of course, a few years ago. But yeah, he lived in Corpus Christi, Texas most of his life, and I was born very close to there. So.
A song that you can actually hear the words to, as opposed to today, you have to listen to a song like 3 or 4 times and go, what did he say?
What did he say? Yeah.
Because they're rapping this and they're doing that, and they're beeping and bopping and bumping, whatever it is.
Well, you can understand the words for our theme song. This is, classic Elvis right here.
You can't beat the drama, the excitement, and the
Hey, baby.
All right, so
we have Jamie's coming on very shortly.
Yeah, Jamie Gold is.
When we say very shortly, we actually mean today, though, right? Okay, so I want to clarify that because we said coming on shortly. It's like today is.
He'll be on sometime in the future. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, Jamie Gold will be on. Also, a little sad news, but I do want to make a little announcement to.
Sad news? What? I'm getting married?
No, this is actually real sad news. That's sad news for Sissy, but no. A good friend of mine, John Edwards, he lives in Denton, Texas, just outside of Dallas. He works at the WinStar Casino, so he's a poker dealer, and we've been really good friends for a long time. His dad passed away just a few minutes ago.
Really?
So, yeah, probably about 2 hours ago.
Was it this coming? Was he?
Yeah, he'd been pretty bad. He was in a hospice for a while, and finally he fell a couple of days ago and broke his hip and broke his leg.
How old of a gentleman did we know?
He was in his 80s.
Yeah, when you fall, when you get like 70 and above and you fall.
Yeah, and they didn't think he'd survive an operation, so they put him on a lot of morphine and painkillers, and yeah, he finally passed.
So when do you think I should stop playing hockey, considering that I'm getting up in age and?
What are you?
Because I don't want to die.
You're in your late 70s, early 80s. What are you right now?
Right now, I feel like 80. I mean, we do the show on Fridays. I play hockey on Thursday nights. Sissy gives me some of her pain medication on Thursday nights when I get home. That's how I'm able to get up out of bed on Fridays.
Wait a minute, isn't that illegal, Joe? And you were a cop?
No, it's not illegal. She doesn't administer it to me. She takes it out for herself. She leaves it on the bathroom counter.
And so you steal it.
I take it, and then she goes, I could have sworn I put this. No.
But wait a minute. You are breaking the law because you're stealing it.
No, I'm not stealing it. It's a prescribed medication.
But it's not prescribed for you.
Oh, it's prescribed for someone in pain.
But it's not prescribed for you, Joe.
But I'm in pain, so I think it's...
Well, yeah, but still. I
mean I could go to the doctor and say...
just say no, Come on. I'm just kidding. I love the pain medication myself. But not only when I'm in pain, of course, folks. Yeah.
That would be 7/24, 24/7?
TLVS1 cares. All right, so... so California this last weekend. Okay, so after the Oceana Casino and blackjack there, decided for sure I'm not going to play here anymore, and I didn't. I didn't go back and play blackjack again. I went home and they had a nice dinner again. The next day I was bored again, so I decided, okay, this time I'm going to go back to the first casino that just has poker and play a little hold'em. California rules on poker are strange too, more so than here in Vegas.
How's that?
Well, I went in, and it was a 3-6 game, which and they had a seat open. They had a 3-6, and they had an Omaha game. Didn't want to play the high-low Omaha, so played the 3-6. But it was 3-6 or 4-8 up to the big blind.
So the big blind determines what the limit is?
Correct.
So whatever he puts out as the blind?
If he puts out $3, and then it's 3-6. If he puts out $4, and it's 4-8.
What you thinking here?
And they had a kill too. So it could have been, it was 6-12 or 8-16.
If I'm going to be able to up the stakes, I want to up the stakes when I'm on the button, not when I'm out of position.
Well, you don't have the choice when you're on the button, though.
I understand that, but I'm thinking I'm playing for as little as I can. when I'm in a bad position.
Well, I was, and I started running actually pretty well when I started.
Here we go. We're running.
Well, first
did you have
hand,
your sneakers on?
All right, first hand, Jack 5. No.
Good.
First hand, pocket 7s, $6 to call. I called, didn't flop anything, so I folded. Good. I didn't try to chase with 7s, but I think a couple of hands in, I get pocket queens, flop a set, and actually had action all the way down.
And won.
And won. So I was doing pretty good. Finally, the last hand, the ugly hand, big blind decides to make it 4-8, but it was also he had also won the pot 2 pots before, so it was a kill pot. So it was actually 8-16, and so he puts out $8 for the big blind, and so it made it an 8-16 game. I get pocket queens again. Flop comes queen king 3. So I'm like, okay, that's pretty good. I bet there's 4 callers. He re-raises, the guy that was on the big blind. He re-raises. I re-raise him. We lose the other we lose the other players. He calls. The turn is
stop. Okay, you raise. He raises. You call. What kind of hand? What kind of range are you putting him on there?
Ace king, maybe.
2 pairs, maybe.
2 pair, maybe. King queen.
Did you consider when he re-raised you? Did you just smooth call behind him because you're out of position, or you're interested in finding out how strong of a? Did you think about playing back at him to find out maybe we can shut this down right now?
It's a limit game.
Oh, it's a limit.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
It's 8-16.
Okay, so did you still even re-raising him?
Yeah. So I re-raised him once, and then he re-raised me, and he called.
And so you called. You just smooth called the re-raise.
Smooth call it just a call. It's a limit game. So smooth
but
call.
You had the option.
I had the option to re-raise one more time, but I didn't.
Did not.
No, I did not.
Did not come into your.
No. So flop king queen 3, turn 3. So now I've got queens full. I bet he re-raised. That's Jamie Gold calling. I raised. He re-raised. Since we're heads up, we can go all in.
Right.
So we pretty much did.
Well, not all in, but there's
unlimited raises. So we did that, and I should have known after that. But I mean, what am I going to do with that hand? I'm not going anywhere.
Right.
And so I end up calling, and he turns over pocket kings for kings full. So we both flopped sets, and I second set. Queens full, I had queens full of 3s, you had kings full of 3s.
Now, if you were Jamie Gold, would you say when you flopped it, I got middle set?
I wasn't going anywhere.
No, I mean, we got Jamie coming on the air. Yeah, we're going to talk to him about his hand.
When you're WSOP world champ, Jamie Gold, I don't think even Jamie could have gotten away from that hand.
No, usually if you flop a set, and if you don't win,
turn a boat.
And turn a boat, yeah, you're losing some money there.
Yeah. Speaking of Jamie Gold, I think we got Jamie on the line. Jamie.
Hey, how are you?
Hey, thanks for calling in. Appreciate it. We were actually just talking about a hand I was playing in California this weekend. Which you live in California. This was a small limit game in Grover Beach, California, where I ended up flopping a set of queens versus a set of kings, and there was just no way I think I could get away from that hand. And when we're
before we even get Jamie's input on that, I think once you raised, he re-raised you. If you would have popped him back, and he called or re-raised you back, then you got to consider maybe he did have pocket kings and flopped set over set on you.
Still, but would you have gotten away from that hand?
No, you can't. But the point is,
get away from that hand.
But you would have had a little clearer picture of what was going on.
I would have just known in advance that I was going to lose my ass. Is that it?
Because when you got to the river, you thought you were good.
No, I kind of didn't. After the turn,
because you were running bad, right?
Well, no, because after the turn, when it was heads up and we just unlimited raises all in, then we turned over our cards, and I saw I had lost before the river, so it didn't really matter.
Well, let's get back to Jamie because he's our honored guest today.
Thank you for calling in, Jamie. How are you? Uh-oh.
Bad connection.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, barely.
Oh, do we have a bad connection or?
It's the volume. I have the volume on my phone all the way up, but I can barely hear you.
Okay. We can hear you now. Good, Jamie.
We can hear you now. Can you hear us?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Great.
Thanks for calling in, Jamie. I know you're a busy guy, but we've been wanting to get you on for a little while, and I know you were doing some traveling here in the last couple of months. But and you were here in Vegas last week for the Epic Poker League, correct?
I was. Yeah, I was there on business, and I also got to play in the Epic Pro-Am, and it was a lot of fun. It was a very small field, but it was a very well-run tournament.
And how did you end up doing in that?
I busted out in the first hour.
The first hour? Nice. That's about 59 minutes longer than I usually last in a tournament like that.
But I did cash the week before in the Legends, so I felt like, that's my hometown casino, the Bicycle, and the Legends of Poker is, one of the biggest, or at least most prestigious events in the world, and an extremely tough field. I mean, it was incredible. There were only 800 entries, but the field was amazing how tough it was.
I was actually there for a couple of days during the Legends. I didn't actually play in the event. I was playing in a couple of satellites, but yeah, anybody was there, and you cashed it.
Yeah, it was. I came in I think 65th, something like that, out of 800. But it's not really the number. It's that I had a really good shot to go all the way. And a few things happened, kind of like your situation. I would have been chip leader after flopping a set of tens. It turns out the guy flopped a set of kings.
Oh, wow. But what can you do in that situation? You're not going to give it up. I mean, can you?
It's funny. I actually called it and said that I know you flopped a set of kings, but what am I going to do here? You know what I mean? It was a really tough situation. If there's enough money involved, I can get away from that hand, but he didn't have me covered, so it wasn't even a possibility that I was getting away from that hand. Also, it was a dead board, so it wasn't like he could have flopped a straight. I flopped a second nut, so if you flop a king high flush, somebody flops an ace high flush, you're going broke.
Yeah,
that's
true.
Pretty much the way it goes. In a cash game, though, let's say I have $1 million behind, and I'm only in for 100,000. I can actually get away from that hand in certain situations. There are players where there's no chance that when they know that I have, at the very minimum, top two, because it becomes king 10-4. They know that I'm not playing. The worst hand I could have in that situation is a pair of fours, maybe king 10.
Okay.
But they know that if they're coming over me, they have to have better than king 10 or a pair of fours. And I have the pair of 10. So there are certain situations where if somebody puts in their $1 million, I know that there's when they raise and they re-raise me pre-flop, there's no other hand they're going to have but a set of kings.
So
I can get away from the hand in extreme situations with the largest amount of money you could imagine. But otherwise,
you're just going to get your ass whooped. Yeah.
I mean, in the original Super System that Doyle Brunson wrote, there are certain hands that you just have to go broke. And you just have to understand that that's part of poker. You're going to go broke no matter how well you play, no matter what happens, you're going broke.
Now, how long have you actually been playing poker, Jamie? I mean, I know 2006, the main event, but how long before that?
I'm having a hard time hearing you again. I'm sorry.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Barely. I'm not sure why. It's the volume. It's not the connection.
Huh. Well, we've got it turned up here, but can.
All right, that's a little better.
All right. How long have you actually been playing poker? I mean, before 2006.
I'm losing you.
You're losing me again. Maybe we can.
Let me try it on my mic. Hey, Jamie, the question that we had for you is how long before you won the main event in 2006? How long were you playing poker for?
I've been playing poker my whole life. My mom believes that I was playing well from about the age of 3, but that's my mom.
A little biased.
Yeah, a little biased, but she does tell a very cute story that's of how and this is true, of how I learned to count. My grandfather was a master gin rummy player, and he would play every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And I grew up with my grandparents in my same home with my mom. I felt that very lucky. I didn't feel like it was because we didn't have any money. I felt like how lucky I am. How cool is it that I'm growing up with my grandparents? So it was really fun, and I would sit on my grandfather's lap, and that's the first game I learned how to play was gin rummy. But I actually learned how to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, Jack, Queen, King, 8.
That's funny. I've never heard anyone say that, but that's funny.
And And that is the truth. And because my mom's been telling that story, I remember since I'm 5 years old, she would tell it, when he was 2, so I've had to hear that stupid story my whole life, so I'm pretty sure that's true. But I don't know that I was necessarily a good poker player when I was 3. I realized that I was a good gin player when I was 3 because I was sitting on his lap every, 3 days a week for 3 years already. And as we're sponges when we're that young, I think we're a little smarter than we are when we're adults when we're that young, especially for technical things like that. And so I've been playing poker my whole life, but I didn't start playing Texas Hold'em until I saw Rounders. And Rounders got me that I could not believe that somebody could win $1 million playing in something called the World Series of Poker. I didn't even know that it existed, that there's such a thing as the best poker player in the world. You can go to Vegas and win $1 million. I had no idea. So after I saw Rounders, I was living with my girlfriend at the time, and she said, well, you go and play in these all the time, and you seem to be crushing. All your friends get very upset because you leave every week. So, yeah.
We're losing the signal again, Jamie. Are you there?
I think we might have lost him.
Jamie? I think we lost Jamie. He's probably going to have to call back.
He's probably going to have to call back.
Yeah, we lost him. He's probably going to call back.
It was in the middle of telling, hold on.
We've got a dial tone. Can you turn down the phone, Paul? Can you turn down the phone? It's a dial tone.
You lost?
Yes.
We lost the call.
Yeah, he should be calling back right now, hopefully. Well, he was talking about his story of
I like the county story is great.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4,
5, 10. Jack, Queen, King, Ace.
Is that him calling back there? Hopefully. Yes.
Cell phone?
Yeah.
We'll try it while he's setting that up.
Okay, cool, man. Hold on.
All right, I think he's got him back on. We have him back up.
I'm back.
All right, there you are. All right.
What part of this way too long answer?
No, please. I love the story. So you found out after watching Rounders that you can win $1 million. So you were living with your girlfriend.
Right.
That was the last thing.
And my girlfriend was convincing me that she's like, listen, if you can beat your friends every week, I mean, it was so weird. I was never losing. And in poker now, looking back at it, my friends had to be so bad that I would never lose over a night. And so, for whatever reason, I guess my friends didn't even understand the rules. We would get together and play poker. I at least understood what the rules were. And my friends would sometimes turn over their cards and they'd say, so do I have a flush? No, you got 4 spades. That's not a flush. And so I guess, look who I'm beating. So I was not very impressed with myself as a poker player at all. But what I did realize is that I had a lot to learn, and I started going to all the local casinos, the Bicycle, the Hustler, all the local casinos in L.A. Mm-hmm. And it turns out that a large group of the best poker players in the world were playing in those casinos, and I guess, I've made a decent amount of money in my life, and so I didn't sit down at the 1-2 game. I sat down at the biggest game they had in the casino because I would bring like 10 grand with me, wow. And I figured that was a small amount of money. I didn't realize that that's actually a lot of money when you don't know how to play the game. And I would sit in the biggest game they had, and I would sit with a guy who would wear this cowboy hat with the long hair. It turned out to be Chris Ferguson.
Oh, wow.
I would sit with this guy, who turned out to be Barry Greenstein.
Now, what kind of limits were these? What limits were you playing?
It was the biggest game in the house. It's the biggest limit. I said, I want to play the game as they play in Rounders.
Okay. But what limits were they playing?
They were playing, it was always 10, 20, 40.
10, 20, 20, 40.
That's a big game.
Yeah, no limit. That's a decent game, yeah.
And it's a big game against some pretty good players, Jamie. How did you do in that game? Did you hold your own?
No, not even close. No, I got crushed for, let's say, the first, month. And so after I lost probably about $50,000, I realized that there's something that I'm not being told of what's going on here. And so I started reading books. And one person, was really kind to me, and it was not anybody that anyone would recognize. He's actually, his name is Jeff Grau. He's actually LAPD now. He told me, he's like, listen, here are the books that you need to read. Here's the order that you should read them in. Here's how you need to develop yourself. And once I read one book and realized, oh my God, there's so many things I don't know about this game. And then I read every single book I could get my hands on. And I started actually becoming a pretty decent player. And then, you know, I was winning half the time, losing half the time, but, you know, I was somewhat of a break-even cash game player, which I didn't also realize how lucky I was getting. You know, that I was putting, every time I had a flush draw, I'm putting all my money in, no matter what.
Right.
And so I realized, you know, how bad I was playing years later, but at least, you know, my luck was running pretty well, and I had a pretty good sense on how to read players. And that's really where I got, you know, where most of my skill lies. You know, we're all born with certain innate skills, and I have a pretty decent skill on how to read people when we're live. And so I would usually know what cards people were holding if I would watch them play for an hour. And that skill has obviously stayed with me and been a great part of, you know, the reason why I've done okay. But all of a sudden, after Chris Moneymaker won, and it became a worldwide TV phenomenon, this game, I realized that poker players were going to become celebrities. And at the time, I was representing celebrities. And I wanted to represent Johnny Chan and Chris Moneymaker. And so what I ended up doing is I made a deal with Johnny Chan that I would sell a book and a television show for him, and it was a show that him and Chris Moneymaker were both going to be in, and create a poker school for them. And in return, he had to put me on the right path to become, you know, in my vision, the best poker player that I could possibly be, which if I could ever get near Johnny Chan, I felt at that time I could be the best poker player in the world. It turned out very quickly that I realized I was never going to be the best poker player in the world, but I had a great shot at being the best poker player that I could be just by training with him. And what he allowed me to do, he didn't actually physically teach me specific things. He allowed me to watch him play, which was a pretty huge thing.
Oh, yeah.
And then I could ask him questions. And he realized that, you know, all of a sudden I was creating my own style of talking people in and out of their hands, and I was starting to win. You know, at that time they weren't keeping great records. Like every time you win a tournament, it's online. You know, any major tournament, any decent run professional tournament. But I was winning at the Hustler and the Bike. I was winning these weekly tournaments, and they only had maybe 300 to 500 people in them. But I was winning them consistently. I think I won 11 of them in 6 months. And coming in first in any tournament 11 times in 6 months, you know, is not an easy task.
No, that's fantastic, yeah.
And so it was amazing. And so I have all these little trophies in my house, and I was really proud of myself. And I felt like, wow, you know, I want to go try to play at the World Series. And so I won this one tournament at the Bike for $54,000, and I took that money and rolled it into the World Series, but I didn't think I was ready to play the main event. So then I spent a good year traveling and watching all of the professionals and getting advice from people and watching Johnny Chan play, and I started doing really, really well in some of these, you know, smaller tournaments around LA, and that's when Johnny convinced me that you got to go and play the main event at the World Series. And that he also had, he said that there's this company, Bodog, that will buy you in if you're in Hollywood, if you're either a celebrity or an executive that can play well enough, if they think you have a chance. And Johnny told him that he thinks not only do I have a chance, he thinks I'm going to win the main event.
Did John
was the right place at the right time, that nobody had ever seen anyone play like that before. I don't believe that that's true, but at least it was in my head that nobody had ever really psychologically talked people in and out of their hands in tournaments before. And so he convinced me to go. And Bodog brought me in, and so I had a free buy-in. And, of course, I did promise somebody that I would give them half, not for doing anything for me. They did me a little favor on the side, but people have the misconception that I was bought in by somebody and I didn't pay my backer or some kind of bullshit, which was not the case at all. Bodog brought me in. That's why I was wearing Bodog from day one. And I did promise someone, which I did give them half minus taxes, because I had to pay taxes on the whole thing. And he was from the UK, and he didn't want to pay his taxes after I won. So he ended up suing me. Instantly, we went to an arbitrator, and they said, "You're insane. You're not going to win. Take the money that Jamie's giving you." And we're not allowed to say what the settlement was, but it wasn't exactly what he thought, you know, that it was going to be, because, you know, he ended up causing me a lot of stress and a lot of bullshit. And so I offered him half minus taxes. He didn't want to pay his taxes, so everybody got the idea that I'm trying not to pay somebody. I was just trying not to pay his taxes for him.
Which is not...
It was a really simple thing. And it got totally misconstrued, and people told all kinds of weird rumors, and that I didn't pay my backer. And so I like to get that clear every time I do an interview from now on. I feel like people just need to know the truth. And if you do your homework, if you really care, if you're a journalist and you want to write a story about it, try looking up the facts before you write a story that isn't true about me.
And yeah,
it's all there. If you look up the facts, it's pretty simple. It's all documented. He was from the UK, and they don't have to pay taxes on gambling earnings there, at least in 2006. The problem was he didn't win. I did. So I had to pay taxes on the whole thing. So he got half after taxes, which is all that anybody should ever get, especially when they don't deserve half in the first place. It was just a gift. And then he turned out to be a real, greedy asshole, and he didn't deserve anything, but he's lucky for what he got.
Well, and that's something that it's true. If you were going to investigate that story, the hard part is because there were so many rumors about that story, and I didn't even know the true story, and I tried researching it. Is all you can find is just the rumors. You can't find the true story, and it makes it hard
because...
If you
really want to, you can, because the court documents are all available to the public.
And why was he getting a percentage anyway? Can you tell what he actually did for you?
Bodog was giving away seats to any celebrities, and so he said, "Oh my God, they gave you a seat?" I said, "Yeah, they gave me a seat because Johnny Chan convinced them." I was a well-known guy in Hollywood. I wasn't famous to the public, but everybody in Hollywood knew who I was because I represented such famous people. So everybody in Hollywood knew that I was maybe the best poker player in our little circle. And that and Johnny Chan convinced everybody that I had the legitimate shot at actually winning the World Series of Poker. So Bodog said, "We want you on our team." Then they said, "Please help us get more celebrities." So I called all my clients, guys like Gandolfini don't even play poker. My other clients were either working or not available or not interested. So this guy was somebody who's coaching guys like Matthew McConaughey and Matthew Perry and all these legitimate celebrities. He was like the celebrity poker coach. And he said, "Can I get a buy-in if I get any of these guys to come?" And I said, "They told me that if you get 2 legitimate celebrities, they'll give you a buy-in." Well, he ended up getting at that time 2 what they were calling non-celebrities, which were at the time who are now celebrities, Dax Shepard and Matthew Lillard. And I thought those were great guys. But Bodog said, "We don't know who these guys are. We'll give them buy-ins, but we're not giving your guy anything." So he kept complaining and crying and begging me and this and that because he was broke. And he needed the money, and I said, "You know what? Stop bothering me. I'll give you half of whatever I win. Is that good enough for you?" He said, "Oh my God, that's great." So of course, then I got close to winning, and he started hounding me for an advance on the money and to write him a contract and this and that. And I said, "I'll leave you a voicemail that says that you're going to get your money. I have no problem giving you half the money." And he said, "But you said half. You didn't say half minus taxes." I said, "Are you an idiot? If I give you half before taxes, I get nothing. You think I deserve nothing? Well, I don't care about you." He just turned out to be such a scumbag.
Wow.
So I'm guessing... for the language, but he's just a lowlife. And I at one point I thought, you know what, we'll probably become friends again. I could never be friends with this guy. He's just such a greedy asshole, and I have no problem speaking badly about him because he's just a horrible human being.
Wow. Yeah, I was guessing you probably wouldn't.
I mean, one of my friends truly wanted to kill him. I don't mean hurt him. I mean bury him in the ground.
Wow.
And I wouldn't let him do it because I can't have that on my conscience. But he's lucky that he's still living because my friends really wanted to kill him.
Wow.
And Jamie, while you were going through all this, if my memory is correct, your dad was very, very ill at the time, too.
Yeah, there's another thing. I got a really bad rap for disappearing on the poker community because they felt that I owed them some, being an ambassador, as if I haven't done enough. I've raised more money than I could possibly imagine raising for the poker community, but I still get a lot of shit from people because I disappeared for 6 months. Again, they don't do their homework. My father had ALS. He had 6 months to live. I chose to spend the last 6 months of his life with him as opposed to going on the poker tour. Right, if anybody feels like I made a mistake, you come talk to me and explain why I made that mistake.
Jamie, you should be commended for that. My father passed away, so...
I'm sorry for you, too, but I don't feel like I deserve to be commended. I just feel like I don't deserve to be lambasted. I don't deserve to be put down for being a bad ambassador. Some people just have nothing better to talk about than to create lies about people. It's really sad. But a lot of people haven't been out of their mother's basement in 22 years, and I feel bad for them. And they're sitting on the computer. They need to get a little social interaction and understand that you don't have to just sit on your computer and talk badly about people in your little forums. Try being a human being of the world and do something with your life and then talk about other people.
And if you read some of the, and I'm going to call it absolute bullshit that's on 2+2 about everybody, not just Jamie, but I mean, people are jealous, and Jamie, and I think you realize that the higher you stand on the mountain, the more rocks are thrown at you. I don't know if you remember, you were on a show with me that Kenny Einig and I hosted back in Canada.
Absolutely, yeah, I loved it.
Right, and you were
a great show.
Yeah, we were honored to have you then, and we're honored to have you now. And I don't know, I know you weren't probably listening in the first hour. Mark and I were talking, and I wanted to ask you this question. I wanted to know if you remember how this all came about. You talking about the hands, and you actually just mentioned it about how you were talking people off the hands, on the hands, getting to fold, getting to call you. Was this something that just kind of grew and became its own life while the tournament was going on, or was this something that you had kind of in your arsenal of poker tools that you knew you were going to use during the main event?
This was an absolutely created system that I had. I knew that very confidently that I was not the best poker player in the world. So I had to come up with some other way that I could ensure myself of beating 9,000 people. And so I came up with a psychological system to talk people in and out of their hands that people just hadn't really experienced a lot of yet. So I felt like I was doing something a little bit new, a little bit different. I'm sure other people had been doing it. I just had never seen it myself before. And for some reason or another, the group of people who were a large group of the best poker players in the world in L.A. were falling for it. And were being beaten by me in these little tournaments. So I figured if I can come in a little tournament, why can't I beat them in a big tournament?
I mean,
and it actually worked.
You kind of created top. Nobody ever said. I never heard anybody say top until you came along, and now you still hear it. You're in poker rooms now, and you hear, "Hey, I got top."
People like to make fun of you about that, and I do kind of. Look, I've done a lot of things that I'm not necessarily super proud of. I do not believe that I did anything that was cheating or illegal, like some people claim. But I do believe that I did some things that I wish I didn't say. I asked Paul if he had the balls to call me. I shouldn't have said that. But look, I was also my first main event.
Right.
I am making excuses. There are excuses. I got all caught up in the heat in the moment. I'm not a perfect person. I've made a lot of mistakes in my life. I try to be a better person every day. I try to do the best I can for the world and for myself. And the people around me and my family, my friends, all seem to feel like I'm a pretty good human being. And so I feel like I'm doing the best I can. I'm not always perfect. I say some things I wish I hadn't said. They're going to live forever on the internet so people can make fun of me. I make fun of myself, too. You have no problem people making fun of me.
Right.
I don't like people telling lies about me, but there's not a lot that I can do about it, so I don't worry about it a lot.
Right. I think how you went about it and what you said was brilliant, because even watching it on TV, and even though we had the ability to know what you had, if you kind of like put your hand on a TV screen and not know what hand you actually were possessing at that point, the manner of how you went about talking to these players, to me, was masterful. It was just like you just kind of got inside their heads.
Well, see what really happened. Unfortunately, on television, you don't get any of it.
Right. Well, we get a little bit of it.
Really quick clips. You should see some of these hands took 20 minutes. I mean, don't forget, there was $12 million on the line. They didn't go in 5 seconds like they showed you on television.
Right.
Some of these hands, I really did work really hard to win. And of course I got very lucky. You know how I got lucky? The best way I got lucky was that I didn't get unlucky.
Right.
Because I would go in with the best hand 90% of the time, and I didn't get unlucky, which is getting really lucky.
Right.
So, even though you own all these magical 10 hands on television, and I probably played, 1,000 hands, 2,000 hands, whatever the number is, I still don't feel like I was, completely just sitting around getting the nuts every single hand like a lot of people love to explain it to me. I get stopped on the street all the time. You just sat there and got the nuts every single hand. I say, thank you very much. You're absolutely right. You obviously play a lot of poker because you understand that everything you saw on television was exactly the way that it happened.
People don't realize you probably only see about 3 to 5% of the hands that are actually played.
If even not even that.
Oh,
not even that much.
See that. You
No.
don't even see 1%.
No, not even 1%. Yeah.
1%.
No.
Yeah, people don't understand that.
Now, so you were responsible for what they call the Jamie Gold rule. Is that right?
I do believe that I am responsible for that rule. Yeah.
Otherwise, I don't think they call it the Jamie Gold rule. But okay, so explain now what the Jamie Gold rule is to people.
It is you are not allowed to speak about the contents of your hand, and you're not allowed to induce or reduce action in any way whatsoever when you're in a hand, even heads up. Now, that rule does not apply when you play in Ireland. That rule no longer applies when you play at the Bicycle Casino in L.A. They just suspended that rule. Now, I'm told, Matt Savage says that the rule was in place even before I played in the main event. I just made people enforce the rule because they weren't enforcing it properly before me. So supposedly, the rule was in place. If Matt Savage says that it was, I'm sure that it was.
Well, wasn't the rule, my understanding of what the rule is, you could talk about your hand as long as you lied.
As long as you don't say exactly what your
as long as you lied
right.
about your hand. You
sometimes now they don't even let you talk about your hand anymore. I mean, it's just, I think it's ridiculous. I think it's silly. Danny Negreanu is obviously a big proponent of getting that rule changed, as most of the, I believe, the smartest poker players out there do not want that rule in place. I understand why they have it. They don't want collusion, but you know what? A lot of things people be colluding and doing. You just have to be a little smart about, what you're doing there, and I feel like it's ruining the game. I feel like it's making us, if we can't say a word except calling each other asshole, which is amazing to me, I'm allowed to berate you, yet I'm not allowed to talk strategy with you. So, I'm not allowed to be a chess player, but I'm allowed to be a jerk at the table. That just makes no sense.
And I don't think, I know you know this, not only is poker a game, it's a psychological game. And all you were doing was taking the psychological aspect of it and using it to your advantage. And you should be able to use anything you can within the rules of the law for your advantage. There's nothing wrong with that. I
agree.
Yeah.
And
so, can we talk a little bit about my new site?
Absolutely. Yeah.
I need to plug it. We just started 2.5 weeks ago. It's called freegoldpoker.com. That's FREEGOLD poker.com. And it is absolutely free to play. If people choose, they can upgrade for, special VIP memberships. But I'm not encouraging anybody to do that just yet. I'd like everybody to come and play for free. We're giving up to $100,000 a month in cash and all these really cool prizes away. The most right now that you can win in any one tournament is $2,000. So I want people to come and play for free. And every month I'm going to try to give away more and more prizes. So if you play, we're on the Zen Network, which is a great network. But I want to make our site really special on that network, where my personal leaderboard. So if you're playing on my site, just on the Free Gold Poker site, I'm going to give away seats to the main event. I'm going to give away special prizes for my leaderboard. I'm going to give away trips to Vegas. I'm going to give away special coaching with me. We're going to have videos that you can watch where I will teach you, beginner, intermediate, and advanced poker tactics. Eventually there'll be new tips every day. Eventually I'm going to have much larger cash prizes. But for now, while we're building the site, I want as many people to come as possible. We do have advertising. There are no pop-ups. There's no spyware. There's no adware. But while you're waiting to get your seat in any tournament, for that 2 minutes, there's a commercial, just like you'd watch on television. They are television quality, same commercials you see on television on the site. Now, while you're playing on my table, there is advertising, on the felt. It'll say Zen and Free Gold Poker. On the right and left and on the top, there's also advertising, but it's not in your face. On the predetermined breaks is when there'll be commercials. And then if you want extra prizes, extra points, you can actually, you can participate in surveys for our clients. So right now we have Walmart, Home Depot, the Tropicana in Las Vegas, Allstate, State Farm. It's all high-end advertisers. So we're very proud of what's happening so far. We've got a huge response from people, and I want to hear from people about how I should adjust and change the site. you know, a lot of my friends have started winning, you know, but they're winning small money. One of my friends won $50. One of my friends won $100. But again, you're playing for free.
Right.
And so I love the feedback. Anybody wants to follow me on Twitter, I'm Real Jamie Gold on Twitter. It's at RealJamieGold on Twitter. Or they can go to JamieGold.com and you can get to my Facebook, Twitter, Free Go Poker, any of that. If you go to JamieGold.com. And I want the feedback. I absolutely want to hear from people. Constructive criticism, please. You know, we don't want to hear from people that, you know.
Still bitching about 2006?
No, you know, people are going to always, you know, say what they want to say. But I truly appreciate. I have a really great group of fans that follow me whenever I'm playing at tournaments and give me support. And I feel incredibly loved. So I'm not worried about. Look, let's say I have, you know, 10 fans in the world, and then I have one hater. I can't really worry about that. You know what I mean? And the haters usually don't say anything in public. So in public, it's incredible the kind of love and support that I get, and I truly appreciate it. Well, and I've never said no to anybody they want. If they want a picture, they want an autograph, whatever it is that they want, I try to spend, you know, time with people when they want to talk to me. And so I feel like, I'm very blessed. My life could not be better based on, you know, the way that I was born and the opportunities that I've been given. I'm the luckiest guy that I could possibly imagine. But what I want to tell people, forgive me, I just want to let them know that we are giving away 10% of every dollar that we ever make in advertising on this site. 10% of all of our profits are going to the causes that we believe in, and we're going to list them. We're going to start announcing. We're making deals with all the charities that we want to support over the year, and we're very proud to be able to do that. Obviously, one of them will be the NBA ALS Association for my dad, and all the charities that we support. So when you come and log on for free, you're actually supporting all of the charities and all of the causes that we support, the fallen heroes, for all of the officers that are ever shot in the line of duty. You know, we're going to have a really impressive list so that all you have to do, so people say, listen, you know, I don't have any money, I can't really donate. That's not true. You can come and play at freegopoker.com for free, and in turn, 10% of every dollar that I make, that we profit from all of our advertisers, we're going to be donating. And so, just by you playing for free on my site and being able to win cash and prizes, you're actually helping donate money to all of these causes, which I guarantee that there'll be a cause that you believe in on our list, because we're spreading it out so that any one of these causes that you believe in, we will be donating to it. So I feel like all you have to do to be a charitable human being is go on freegopoker.com and play for free. And in return, I will make money from advertisers, and I will donate 10% of that money that we're making.
That's very, very commendable of you.
And I know you're a generous person, because I don't know if you remember this, but I was one of the production assistants at ESPN, and you were very nice enough to.
The main event.
Yeah, you were nice enough to talk my producer into letting you get me a massage. No, I was just talking about that earlier. That pissed off a lot of crew members. They were like very jealous, and I got ridiculed by a lot of crew members for that. But I was like, hey. You know, I mean, what am I going to do? He offered it to me. I'm not going to turn it down.
It was my pleasure. It was actually a friend of mine that ended up paying for it because he wanted to say thank you for you know, featuring him, on the production. And so, yeah, I mean, I try to live my life to give back as much as I possibly can. I do realize now, I did take a couple years off. People ask me, you know, where have you been? How come you haven't cashed in 20 tournaments? Well, I've only played, I think, less than 20 tournaments in the last 3 years, so it'd be really hard for me to have cashed in 20 tournaments, but I felt like I wanted to go and spend my time in the most charitable way that I could while I did not have any reason to have to make money. Now I have a reason to go back on tour because I'm promoting my poker site.
Right.
I also have some new sponsors that I need to get out there and promote, and so, you know, it all serves. You know, somebody that I respect a lot in the philanthropic area is Bono. And Bono says very smartly that the only way that you can ever afford to give away as much money as you can is if you make as much money as you can. So, you know, don't be silly and try to give away money to charity for the rest of your life. Eventually you'll go broke. And he's right. That, you know, I was on a path, I don't know how many more years I had left, but I was on a path that if I kept doing what I was doing, traveling around the world, donating as much money as I possibly could, you and working for all these causes for free. I was very fortunate in working for the Global Creative Forum, which raises money for all the different UN agencies, and being able to work for them and put on poker tournaments for them. But I was always donating all the money that I would win. And so eventually, especially with the way that the stock market is going and, all the investments that I have, I'm definitely on a path to being broke. So people thinking it's broke. So that's all.
Yeah, well, Jamie, like I said, I've only met you once. Did we lose you, Jamie? I think we lost
Jamie.
Okay.
Yeah, he's probably gonna call back, so I'm gonna hang up on it again, and then he'll probably be calling back. Wow, just hearing some of the stuff that he's talking about, though, and all the negative stuff that did come out, from the 2006 main event.
There's always pros and cons to whatever situation you get involved in, and I'm sure the $12 million is a lot of pros, but I'm sure there was some cons to winning the main event, and it's there's a lot of jealousy, not just in the poker community, in life in general. People don't like when people do good. It's really strange. I'm always happy for my friends when they do good, because if it's not me, I hope it's you. But why knock a person down or try to knock them down? Or try to disparage them when they're doing good. And as far as I know, like I said, I only met Jamie once before, but a very good friend of mine, Kenny Heine, became good friends with Jamie during the main event, during the 2006 main event. And when Kenny told me, this guy is for real, this guy is a really good guy, that was good enough for me. And I didn't pay attention to, like Jamie said, all the untruths and the false rumors that were going around. And it was nothing but rumors going around. I didn't realize that all these court documents are available now, because when we had him on as a guest back in late 2006, early 2007, I'm not sure the date, at that point he was in the middle of the litigation, so we really couldn't talk to him about it at that point. But I'm glad that it's settled. I'm glad that it finally came out that he did not stiff anybody. Mm-hmm. He gave that person, and it sounds like it was a real generous gift, considering this guy did nothing to Jamie except hound him, and hey, Jamie said, okay, I'll give you half of whatever I win, just to get rid of the guy.
Exactly. And then now...
And honored it, too. When you say to somebody... I'm just saying something just to get rid of you. But then when it comes to surpass, when you actually, do what you say you're going to do, that in itself, I mean, he gave away less to taxes. He gave away $6 million. For what? What did this guy do for him that Jamie had to give?
Hey guys, I'm back.
Hey Jamie, what I was saying when we lost you is that I've only met you one time before, so it's really hard to judge someone's character and meeting them only one time. But Kenny Einiger, who I know who you and him became friends.
I love Kenny.
And Kenny and I have been friends for 15, 20 years. And when Kenny told me Jamie Gold is for real, he's a great guy. And so when I was hearing...
He knows that I got screwed. He went through the whole thing with me.
I know he did. And when Kenny told me that you're the real deal, that was good enough for me. And like we said, when we had you on the show, you were in the middle of all that litigation, so we really couldn't talk about it. I'm glad it's settled. And I was just talking to Mark about that, is you did the honorable thing, because this guy was not a backer. You were not obligated to really give him $6 million taxes.
It was called a gift.
I know, it was a gift. I mean,
he didn't want to take a $4 million gift. He wanted to sue me.
It's incredible.
To get the whole thing, because he was dumb enough to retain attorneys that he give a third to now.
Well, know from this,
Jamie. That's not my problem.
Right. Know from this, Jamie. As far as Kenny Einiger and myself are, you're 100%. You're a stand-up guy, and you're good for the poker world. And for the 1 or 2 people out of 100 that want to have something bad to say to you, screw them.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I really do.
I didn't know much about you, Jamie. Before, just knowing what I've seen on TV, what I've read online, all of the talks, all the rumors. I didn't know, and then just the fact of that you took time to talk to me and all of that stuff at the World Series and doing some more research stuff on you. I see. It was horrible the way you were portrayed in the media. I mean, it was just
And I will tell you this, and Jamie, I won't go into too much details, but there's something that Jamie I know is working on right now that might bring him to Vegas on a regular basis, and I hope that comes true for you, Jamie, because you being in Vegas is nothing but good for poker.
I really appreciate that, and I'm very confident that that I will be in Vegas, moving there part-time. I'll be living there at least 1 week a month, but maybe initially for the first month. And I do. There is, it's something that I can't talk about until it's official.
I know you can't.
I feel really, really good about it, and I think it'll be, it's a win for everybody.
Absolutely.
It's a win for poker. It's a win for me. It's a win for, for the people that I'll be doing business with. And I do believe that poker, comes in Vegas. Sometimes poker's kind of dead out there. I mean, I was just there over a holiday weekend, and I was in shock that there was not a 10-20 game on a regular basis at any one of the casinos except for the Bellagio, where,
All right. I think we're losing him again.
Did we lose him again?
He's a great guest, but I wish we could keep him on the phone.
Hopefully, yeah. I think we lost him again. Hopefully he'll call.
Well, I think the point that Jamie was making is that the poker community took a big blow on April 15th as far as developing plays over the internet, and the games have suffered because of that. Yeah,
and I thought there he is. He's calling. Is he calling? Yeah. I think with the demise of the online stuff,
we'll try to wrap it up, maybe.
All right. We got him back. We're just talking about how the fact that there weren't many live games, or at least bigger games. Is that due, in your opinion? Do you think because of the loss of the internet games? Do you think are more people, because of the economy, maybe just staying in California and playing as opposed to making the trip out here to play? And then another question I have for you is, in your opinion, do you think the players in California are stronger than the players here in Vegas?
I don't know about stronger. I just think that. No, I don't compare California to Vegas, but what I think we can say is that the poker economy has not changed very much, actually. Of course, anybody who has money on full tilt, but I think it's forced people to play live. What I do think is that the economy has stopped people from traveling. So if everybody's playing live, every casino I go to in any city is booming. In their poker room. It's that people aren't traveling. And Vegas is a travel destination. Most people don't live in Vegas. So if you're not getting the tourists, you're losing a lot of business out there in Vegas. So I feel like maybe I can try to attract more people to come to Vegas to play poker. I feel like I can have something to do with that. But I feel like the poker world is booming, and there's a lot of money going on. And I think that the online shutdown has only helped the live game, but the economy has hurt the travel world. People are not spending an extra $1,000 a person to travel anywhere to play poker when they can go 20 minutes away in their local casino.
I think that's a great point.
Absolutely.
Yes, I really feel like that's what's going on. So I want to be I want to be a facilitator of making people come to Vegas, because there'll be somebody like myself that you can actually play with at any level. I'll play with people for $100. I love the game. I'll play the same day. I played poker for free for $100 and for $100,000. I've done that many times, and I will continue to do that. I love the game. I don't care. I like playing smaller levels because I concentrate so hard. When I'm playing for $100,000 or more, I'm focused. I want to win. When I lose, I don't like it. And so I feel like I don't want to have to work so hard all the time. That's work for me. When I play for $100, when I play for free online, I don't have to pay attention. I don't really care. You know what I mean? It's just fun. I love the fun of the game, but it's not fun when I'm playing for $100,000.
You just love the game.
Unless I win. Then it's really fun.
Now that kind of bankroll I could afford, and I would love to play you heads up sometime for $100 or $2, because that's something I
promise
can afford.
you will be able to do that, because that's part of what I'm working on. I want to be in Vegas. I want to have a home where I'm there all the time, and you can come and play me for $100. Wow. And I love that. And I love the camaraderie, the social aspect of it. Where else in the world is a more democratic place that a homeless person and the president, the wealthiest person, and a celebrity can all sit down and be equals other than a poker table.
And I'll give you.
They're all not having dinner together, that's for sure, but they can all play at a $100 buy-in at a poker table.
Right,
I know some people who are homeless who are playing $100 poker.
I'll give you an example, Jamie. No matter, you can't, I'm a normal guy like Mark and I can't play one-on-one with Michael Jordan. It's just not going to happen. But we can play one-on-one with Jamie Gold, the world champion.
Well, I wouldn't call me the Michael Jordan of poker.
No, I'm not calling you, but I'm making a comparison. You in 2006, you were the guy. You were the world champion.
Yeah, there's a certain excitement, I guess, to beating, whatever I was, the champ and all that. So, but using a better example, let's say Phil Ivey.
Okay.
Because he is the Michael Jordan of poker. You can actually sit down in a game and play him. You can play him heads up. You're going to have to put up $1 million, but it is still possible. But then again, you know what? If you put up $1 million, you can play Michael Jordan in basketball.
Yeah, I'm sure he would show up for that. Well, Jamie, I hope the deal that you're working on right now in Las Vegas, I hope that comes true. I think it will. I think you're a perfect match for the location, and I look forward to seeing you in Las Vegas. And when you are here in town, hopefully we can get you in live in the studio, and we don't have to keep on losing you on the phone.
On the phone. Well, while we do have you on, Jamie, I do want to talk a little bit about your background in poker. Now, you were a talent agent, and do you still do that? Do you have a production company as well?
No, I do. I still work in television production, but through other people's companies, because I just love it. I do it now for fun. I used to do it for trying to make a living at it, which was not easy. But I did make a very good living as an agent and a manager. And, some of my clients were James Gandolfini and Jimmy Fallon, Lucy Liu and Felicity Huffman and Kristen Davis and Brandy and Ray J. And, I had a really nice list of people. And I'm very proud about the work that I had done, but I felt like it had reached a point where I needed to move on. And I was moving on to work in television production. At the same time, my poker game was getting to a place where Johnny Chan told me I was going to go and not just win. He said, you're going to go wipe it out. He convinced me that I wasn't just going to win, that I was going to be trip leader every day, which was close. The first 3 days, I was only in the top 10, but pretty close to exactly how he predicted it, that I might wipe this thing out. And so I feel really good about how things went, and that I had an opportunity to move on. And then once I had that kind of money, I didn't need to work anymore. I wanted to still work, but I didn't have to work. And it's a beautiful thing to work when you don't have to make money.
Oh, absolutely.
So I was very, very fortunate, and I still have my hands in television production, a little bit in the movie business, but barely.
Something that we're working on, and the whole basis of this show starting was an idea that we actually came up with, and I don't know, you probably might have played him in the home games there. He lives in L.A. He's a pro, good friend of mine named Danny George. I don't know if you know him off the top of your head or not.
It sounds very familiar. I know so many people by their first name and their face.
Yeah, he's a Lebanese guy. He owns some restaurants in Burbank, and he played.
Oh, what was that?
Gitana in Burbank. It's
Pane's not in Burbank.
Or a Lebanese restaurant, or a Mediterranean restaurant, and it's a hookah lounge.
I think I do know him. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's a good friend of mine. I actually met him when I was a floor person at the Golden Nugget a couple of years ago, and we came up with an idea for a TV show, and we've actually been shopping it around. The hard part, as you know, being in Hollywood, is to get a meeting with anybody to pitch a show, you need an agent, and to get an agent, you need to get referred by somebody, and so on and so forth. And we've been able to have a couple of meetings. We had some meetings with Fox Sports Net and another agent that actually runs a home game, but he's retired, a gentleman named Norby Walters. He runs a $1, $2, 7-card stud game that's nothing but celebrities.
Oh, cool. I know Norby really well, but he hasn't worked as an agent in 20 years.
Exactly. Well, we met with him a couple of weeks ago at the Beverly Hills Hotel, and since he isn't in the business, he tried to help us out a little bit to refer. But the idea that we came up with, and I could tell you about it because it's public domain, and we've got the idea registered and copywritten, is a show called the Las Vegas Strip Poker Series. And we actually shot an episode, a pilot, a couple of months ago, and we had Todd Brunson, Gavin Smith, Jeff Madsen, Danny, and and another gentleman named Bobo, and Joe, who owns, along with his future wife, Joe's getting married tomorrow, owns the Nevada Poker League, and they helped us out. We shot it at Sapphire Strip Club in Vegas, and we shot it, and it's actually a pretty cool concept. It's 6 professional poker players, each of them paired with a stripper or model, and as they lose a hand, they lose an article of clothing. And everybody had a great time. We shot it, and everybody that has seen it thinks it would be a fantastic show. But
I think it's great. The stripper aspect takes me out of it, though. I think I would watch it. I think it's a great idea, but I have some other things that I'm working on that would not allow me to be a part of something like that.
As far as a player?
I'd be a part of it in any way.
Oh, okay. Well,
because of the stripper aspect. You understand that there are certain public companies that I'm going to be working with that wouldn't do business with me if I was involved with strippers in any way whatsoever.
True. No, and I understand that. And we actually
on television,
no.
I need to be careful about.
No, and actually, and we had as I said, we had a meeting with Fox Sports Net, and they love the idea, but their thing is
a great idea.
It would never get past standards and practices. Even though the fact that the strippers that we shot and everything, they don't strip completely, they're down to bikini tops and bottoms and all that.
I think it's a great idea. There's just no way I could be a part of it.
No, not at all. And I'm not even asking, as far as that. I just wanted to tell you a little bit about the idea. But we also have other ideas that we're working on, and possibly something that maybe we could talk about. The other idea that Fox Sports is interested in is a show called.
We should not do this on the air.
Sure. Okay. Well, you know what? I'll give you a call later and talk about it if that's okay. But
yeah, no problem.
But anyway, so yeah, just maybe something you might be a part of, but. We appreciate you coming on the show and taking the time, and I know we've had some technical difficulties, but you calling back and what other than this thing about where you're coming to Vegas, and I heard a little bit about it. I know you can't talk about it. What else do you have?
I can't talk about that.
What else do you have going on? You've got the free Gold Poker, and
right now this week I'm focusing on freegoldpoker.com. Then next week I'll be in Las Vegas at the Tropicana for Brad Garrett's charity poker event. It's a $500 buy-in. A ton of celebrities are coming.
Danny's actually going to be playing there too. Yeah, he's actually listed on their website as one of the celebrities, even though he's not well known. But I know he's really good friends with Brad Garrett. So
Who is?
My friend Danny George. He's actually going to be there, also. So I'm definitely going to be going to that just to go over there. So
excellent. So I'll see you over there. And that's what I'm doing in the next 10 days. And then I'm going to be back on tour. I'm going to start playing in more World Poker Tour events, more circuit events. I'm going to start traveling as much as I possibly can. I'm even I'm going to do something in India, actually.
Really? Can you talk about that?
I'm the keynote speaker for 85,000 people, that's going to be a pretty cool thing. I'm going to go in January, but I usually don't plan things more than 2 weeks ahead because.
Are you going to be playing the World Series of Poker Europe?
I am not. I am not because I have commitments in America, and I was planning on playing. In my mind, I always thought that I would be going, but. I would plan on being there next year for sure, but unfortunately I made commitments and I gave my word, and so I have to be here now.
Hey Jamie, and earlier in the show when we talked about you mentioned in the beginning you kind of knuckled down and read some books. Is there any particular book that you would recommend to a player that's starting out, similar to when you were starting out?
What I'm going to do, I'll tell you what, because I was actually going through. I have a library of 200-300 poker books, and some of them I think are absolutely a waste of time. And I don't want to put anyone down specifically, but I will promote a certain group of those books. And what I'm going to do is on my website on jamiegold.com. Look at over in sometime in the next month. I'm going to put a list together because a lot of my friends have been waiting for this. But it's not just going to be a list. It'll be a really well detailed plan of which books you should read in what order, and how you should be, creating your own poker, education. And so instead of me just throwing out a few books, I'm going to give, none of which I've written, by the way. They're just books that I really respect. But I think there's a certain order in which you should do that.
Right.
So I'm going to put together a real detailed list, and within a month, just go to my website.
Which is?
And I'll have that there for everybody, obviously, for free.
And the website is jamiegold.com?
JamieGold.com, JamieGold.com, or obviously you can find me at Real Jamie Gold on Twitter, and the official Jamie Gold fan page on Facebook. But FreeGoldPoker.com is really where I want people going, because they can, sign up and win cash up to $100,000 a month for free every month.
I'm going to sign up on that as soon as I get home.
Please do.
Hey,
it was
Jamie.
great talking to you guys. Thank you for having me.
Jamie, thank you. You're a great guest. We do appreciate your time. We know it's valuable, and we.
Well, I'm going to see you in a week in Vegas.
Yeah, we're going to see you next weekend, right?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
All right, we'll stop by the Tropicana to see you.
Fantastic, Jamie. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks, Guy.
I'll see you guys soon. Thank you.
Absolutely. Bye-bye.
And we're going to take a little break, and we'll be back in just a second right here on the Vegas Banter Show, TLVS1.com.